Okay, friends, you're on video with Ox. This is Dan Harms, who has treecrowndreams.com, and he's just an amazing climber. He's got some totally awesome art expressions in the trees and everywhere. So just go to his website. We've got Dan up here as a pick for attention, but we're just going to go through a few of the tabs that are open on my desktop. My computer keeps crashing, so I got to close some of these tabs down. I don't want to close them down because they're too cool. So let's just jump right in here. Boom, tree care industry. All right, this is the November 2004 issue. I have an article in there. Here's trees for Seattle street trees. This is an incredible map of extremely detailed listing of all of the trees in Seattle. So go to Seattle City GIS maps and explore Seattle's street trees. Jumping on over, there's my email program. It's timed out because I don't have any memory left. Here's the Urban Raptor Conservancy group that checks on all of our wonderful predators. Thank you for doing that. And it has a whole list. It's got Cooper's Hawks. It's got Peregrine Falcon Report. It's got going way back. So this is scientific data. Urban Forestry today is out of some college. Here's an upcoming webinar, January 16th and February 13th. Rebecca Hargrave from State University in New York. But this is just an example of a ton of information on urban forestry today. Jumping, I would keep you interested here. This is a complaint that is filed against a building project in the city of Seattle at 1047 South Thistle Street. Now here's an example of a developer that cut down a tree, then applied for a building permit. We got photos of the pre-application site visit. Actually, he cut down the tree after he filed. So there's a fantastic picture of a huge magnolia tree that covers the whole yard. And then later on, the arborist report has no record of it because the arborist was hired after the tree was removed. That's in South Park. Here's the Urban Forestry Commission. This is going back into all of the documents, and they do have a digital recording of every meeting that the Urban Forestry Commission's had in the last, 15 years. Here's a list of 61 heritage trees. And this was published on Tree Buzz back around 2013 when the ISA did their, heritage tree project of trees that were alive at the time of the signing of the U.S. Constitution. Here's upcoming events with the Trees and People Coalition. They got a $90,000 grant for doing school education of forestry for kids. This is the 2023 executive order protecting trees. The problem is it destroys trees. It's got a bunch of whereases, and it's just basically hot air, unfortunately. Sorry, Mr. Mayor, you don't qualify as a tree hugger. Here's the money. So Seattle spends about $26 million a year on trees. They've got about 50 arborists in various departments. City Light, is a city-run power company. They have a parks crew. They have a street tree crew, and then they have planning and development crews. So this is a report that was prepared over the objections of the mayor. He didn't want these numbers reported, but unfortunately the city council made him do an analysis of what he was spending his money on. So this is a really long report, and if you're interested in the politics of how trees are maintained by a large government organization, this would be the type of document that you would spend a lot of time on. This next website is the editorial committee of the Pacific Northwest chapter of the ISA, which publishes a quarterly called Pacific Northwest Trees. Josh Petter is the editor, and he collects articles and does a heck of a volunteer job publishing news in Washington, Oregon, Alaska, Idaho, and British Columbia, an international chapter of the ISA, which has about 30,000 members. Next one here is the City Light website for the city of Seattle. It's a huge power company serving a very large space. So they manage their trees. This one is a new program by the Society of American Foresters to put volunteers in with tree service training groups at the U.S. Department of Labor. And I did one in Yachats, California, which is a beach town where they had a former Forest Service facility with residential classes for about 100 and something at-risk youth. Got to teach them how to climb trees. Did a really fun tree jamboree competition set up as a graduation ceremony for about 20-something kids. Here's PropagationNation. Oh yeah, okay, so this is my order. I just bought a bunch of coast redwood and giant sequoia trees. I'm going to be planting those next week. Wow, does anybody want a giant sequoia tree in Seattle? Come to me. I'm going to make it available to you. And you can buy your own. This one is the state of Washington. Department of Natural Resources has an urban forestry division that has a half a dozen employees. It's grown greatly lately with a lot of federal money that is administered through pass-through grants from the U.S. Forest Service to the Department of Natural Resources. The problem is that for 3 months every summer, those urban foresters go off duty and they go sit on a fire crew. And unfortunately, that's not like strictly urban forestry, which is where the money is supposed to be spent. That's always been an issue for me. Here is a job description. They are currently hiring somebody for $17 to $22 an hour. And this is for the Department of Natural Resources. It's called a Forest Management Intern. And there are two of these positions available. This one happens to be temporary. Okay, I'm going to jump over to that complaint on Thistle Street in South Park, where the developer hasn't planted the trees. The house is all staged. There's actually, I believe, 6 unit lot subdivisions on one piece of property where the tree vanished in the middle of the permit process. Okay, this is the City of Seattle's public tree notices and permit tree tracking database. So if you were to zoom in on this, you could see a parcel view. You could find out the tree number, the property address, whether it was the diameter of the tree, and all kinds of other stuff over at Seattle.gov. Check that out. Okay, here's Dan Harms. Thank you so much for publishing this stuff and for letting us know that art can be created up in trees. Here's King County Mapping Program. This one is settled on a site here in West Seattle. If I zoom out, you can see how the tremendous scope of this project is. King County Aerial Imagery Program. This one is put out by the Urban Forestry Commission and the City of Seattle, which is a volunteer advisory board. and they received this presentation from Sound Transit, which is the multi-county light rail agency that is planning on putting a line from Ballard out to West Seattle. And so you can go through there kind of grandstanding. It's actually tree demolition, where they start at one end, they have a light rail track which is on pylons, and they will bulldoze their way across the city and put in these rails to connect citizens to the downtown core, and actually eventually over to Bellevue. It's gonna open up next year in Bellevue, from Seattle to Bellevue, and it also goes from the city from Linwood, which is a city north of Seattle, down to the Seattle airport. Jumping on, we're about halfway through my list of tabs. You can see why my computer's out of memory. Here's an article that's fantastic, October, by Collin, and he is talking about a tree planting or tree maintenance as a climate solution. Thanks for doing that, Collin. This is Reg Harris. Okay, Reg is having this workshop next month, February 16th, I think it is. It's going to be in England. It's only limited to 30 people. So if you want to see old growth tree management, these are the old estate trees where the nobility, which is a social class, has owned this land for hundreds of years and never done anything with it. Now it has these different episodes where people come in there and then look at the management and tell them how to fix these trees, how to preserve the trees. Okay, this is my postings. I've been surfing down in Los Angeles. We've been having fires the last week or so. I love to watch that stuff because I'm from LA. Here's Robert Oxman. He's doing a tongue and groove felling cut. We had a chain link fence, a barbed wire fence right there, and he managed to tie this tree off and protect the fence. You can see the fence post is right there, and he held it back with his holdback line so the butt wouldn't smash the fence. That's just an example of some of the stuff that I watch and post. This is Andy Lipkiss, is it? Now this one is basically it's a documentary called Reflection: A Walk with Water. It's about water management, and there is a festival June 4th through the 15th. Now we're into Instagram. Well, here's Robert Oxman. He had a lot of criticism. He could have handled that chainsaw better, maybe with more control. But we got this tree out of here. He put this in slow motion just so that you could see his process of energetically demolishing this tree in the wind with ropes. He had some people on the ropes, and there was a pretty confined space directly underneath him. So that's Instagram. I guess everybody knows about Instagram. Okay, here is a class, January 17th. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is like, I'm missing this class. It's probably in about a week or so. Oh, I'm signed up for it. I paid $20. This is put on by ITP, Training Solutions and Consulting. Oh, this is Jake out in Idaho. Hey, sign up for that one. Definitely sign up for that one. He knows a lot. Okay. This is a report, an interview with the climbers from New Zealand, from Bettis Strasser. Oh, it's this. What was the date on this one? 2008. Okay, so Bettis won the world championship about 9 times, and this was one of the better interviews by a news article. by a news reporter. Look how long it is. They went on and on and on about the ins and outs of the history of tree climbing competition. This is a fantastic one. This doesn't need to be closed. This needs to be posted to the Facebook group called the Tree Climbing Competition. This was this is a website where they're pretending to sell these hats. I kind of think that this is fake, and if you were to send them $27.95, you would probably never get anything from your money. I don't know. Does anybody know if these hats are fake or is this an actual real item for sale? Here's the Seattle Department of Transportation Heritage Tree Program. There's about 330 heritage trees. This describes the partnership with Plant Amnesty, how to nominate a tree, and it is completely defunct right now. Unfortunately, we passed a tree ordinance that says that all these heritage trees can be cut down, and that was the exact opposite of what Plant Amnesty had in their vision. And thanks to Cass Turnbull for thinking this idea up. It involved changing the deed on a piece of property to note the presence of the tree, and then having a protection clause in there in case the property was ever sold. It cannot be cut down. Now the city has changed their laws, allowing 6 residences on every lot. No room for any trees. Thank you so much, Seattle City Council, for misnaming our tree protection ordinance. It is a tree destruction ordinance. That's my opinion. That's why you're watching this here on YouTube, because you get to hear what other people think besides the city. Okay. Now, so there is an organization right in here. It's called the Seattle Arborist Association. See what happens if I jump back. All right, I'm jumping forward. This is an article by Rob Knott. Rob Knott is an English arborist. He went to Japan a few times. He got ideas, and he has interpreted the spiritual component of the mechanical fixing of trees as kind of like a unifying life force. This is such a deep concept. Wow, does he ever have introspection? Thank you, Rob. Okay, jumping on. He then expanded on this. He joined up with Paul Pointer in Japan, and Paul has this wooden hand website and persona where he kind of just loves trees. And they wrote this article about ergonomics. And unfortunately, with the posture of your body, it also brings your mind with it. Your mind is trapped inside your body. So the body tells your mind what it can do, and your mind tells the body what to do, and then it decides if it's wonderful, and we call that spirituality. We call that kind of like checking in with the universe. And there are many, many spiritual components to this. I just hope this is coming out on the camera here. This is pretty high resolution. You'll be able to zoom in on this. So then they teach. So Rob teaches at info@treeworker.com.co.uk, and Paul teaches at woodenhandarboriculture@gmail.com. So there you go. This is on the Arboricultural Association website, which is this huge UK group that has many members and has fantastic educational programs. We're jumping to the next tab. Okay. This is the Urban Forestry Commission website for the city of Seattle. This is a letter that they wrote, and they are talking about the budget for, this was written last year, and it's about this year's budget. October 17th, 2024, this was published. And they go on and on and on about how the city isn't spending its money properly on trees. Look at this. It's like a 4-page letter signed by Josh Morris, who is a volunteer urban forestry commission, and he also is on the local citizen group for wildlife. This is next year's annual conference, which is going to be in New Zealand. And there's a whole lot going on. Right now, they're entertaining proposals for lecturers. And here's Trees Are Good. This is urban tree restoration listing in Medford, Oregon, where this gentleman asked me about the best way to communicate with people about his organization. More PNWISA.org, Pacific Northwest Chapter, International Society of Arboriculture. We are having coming up in October a meeting in Portland, Oregon, and that's in the west coast of the United States. If you're interested, there's tons of stuff. Here's the magazine that we talked about that the organization publishes earlier. Here is the PNW's Pacific Northwest Chapter ISA directory of how you can find arborists. And they're listed by British Columbia, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, Alaska, and then at-large members that are outside. So here, I don't actually know Kurt Amundsen, but he's in Vancouver, BC. He's got westsideTreeSolutions.ca, and all the arborists that are listed here are certified arborists. This one I discovered through Tree People. Tree People is a nonprofit. I volunteered with Tree People back in the 1980s, and they do tree awareness education and in Los Angeles, and they get grants from the city. If you were to look through this website pretty carefully, you could find a whole lot of information down to the individual parcel and down to the tree level. So you definitely should go to treepeople.org to check out this organization. These are all websites that are open in tabs on my desktop right now. I have no memory left. My computer crashes every day. It already crashed once today. So here's one from the Fremont Neighborhood Council. Thanks to Toby Thaler, he's got links to extremely valuable documents. Here's one, the 2016 tree ordinance. Here's the tree regulation research project that showed that the city definitely was not doing what its goals asked it to do. And one of the findings is current code is not supporting tree protection. Here's the executive order by the mayor in 2017 that says that we're supposed to protect trees. If we were to click on that, boom, let's see if it's a live link. Yes, it is. Mayor Burgess signs executive order to bolster Seattle tree protections. Was it acted upon? No. This is from 2017. So it's only 6 years ago that we said we were going to do this. We haven't gotten around to doing it. Next tab, tree removal. This is an article about how to decide if trees should be saved or if they should be removed. Look how long it is. It goes on and on and on. So if you were to click on next, this is treedoctor.com. Go back to this is my homepage. There you go. This is like, this is over 10 years old. I haven't modified this. There are some amazing pictures in here. Here's a 12-foot diameter tree that my daughter and son helped me climb along with Jerry Baronic. Jerry brought his was it CO2? Yeah, it was a CO2 line launcher. And he put a line up there, and we got to do some climbing. And then the last link, here we go. We're ending with Dan Harms again. So thanks, Dan. Dan is a conceptual artist. To to really, I mean, there's like several dozen actors in this photograph. Dan is probably a groundbreaker. You would not believe the stuff that's on Dan Harms's treecrowndreams.com. Just look at it. It's incredible. These wings were all pre-attached to the trees. Dan really got involved in the election last fall for the new state of Washington Commissioner of Public Lands. And his campaign to educate people about the need for proper forest protection on a state agency level was successful. Dan has a deep-seated obligation to his community. Just fantastic. Okay, so there you go. Maybe I should just introduce myself. Well, look at that. Look at that. There's Ox right there. Okay, thanks a lot for coming. TreeDoctor.com.